too many hours, and I was. I said, he said, so you're going to have to just have somebody call you and let you know what happened. I said, no. Because, if for one thing, it's politics. If you have a Republican call you, you're going to get their side of it. You have a Democrat call you, you're going to have their side of it. And either way, they're going to leave out the bad stuff. You got to cover it all. And so that's why I refused. I said, no, I'm going to be there, and if you're not there, you can't get the live quotes. Mm-hmm. Like that. There's one live quote that I still remember it. They wanted to put in that one small trailer park up out here on Marion Williamsport Road. Mm-hmm. And we had one lady stand up and against it. And she says, that'll just force the water on our lots, the rainwater. And right now, whenever a frog pees, it floods. Well, if you think I wasn't going to use that, you're nuts, because that was on the air the next morning.
Mm-hmm. All right. Talking with Terry Cole, who worked here for almost 20 years, did Morning Magazine, and was news director, and worked here in a number of capacities. We're going to come back and talk with Terry a little bit more after the news. Again, Marion City schools are closed. River Valley, Ridgedale, Elgin, all closed. Pleasant, 2-hour delay. Tri-Rivers is closed. St. Mary's is closed. Marion County Developmental Disabilities also closed for this morning. And we'll come back, talk more with Terry. News is next.
Marion's News, Talk, and Information Station. 1490 WMRN, Marion.
Area forecast coming to you safe and sound from the Marion Community Credit Union Weather Center on News Radio 1490 WMRN.
Snow showers for your overnight will get down to 25. 1 to 3 inches of snow is expected. For your Monday, a chance of snow showers and cloudy, high of 30. Same for Monday night, snow showers and cloudy, down to 22. Same thing for Tuesday, chance of snow showers and cloudy, high of 29. And for Tuesday night, cloudy skies, we'll have a low of 19.
High school girls basketball tonight going to be over at River Valley for the girls game tonight against Fairbanks. Will tip at about 7:30. High State Lady Buckeyes, they won last night. Marion City schools are closed. River Valley, Ridgedale, Elgin closed. Pleasant 2-hour delay. St. Mary's is closed. Tri-Rivers is closed. Marion County Developmental Disabilities closed. Bay Spring Christian Preschool closed. Crosswood Preschool closed. Up in Wyandotte County, Upper Sandusky, Cary, Angeline School are closed. Industries open. No transportation. Morrow County under a level 1. Northmore, Highland, Mount Gilead, Cardington all closed. Whetstone Industries closed. Staff need not report. Crawford County still under a level 2. Bucyrus, Winford, Buckeye Central, St. Bernard's, Gallion, Wayside Christian Fairway School all closed. Industries open at 11 with no transportation. Hardin County, Riverdale closed. Ridgemont a 2-hour delay. Union County, Marysville is now closed. They were on a 2-hour delay. North Union a 2-hour delay. And Pioneer Career and Tech Center is closed. We're talking with Terry Cole. And Terry, see if you remember this.
Smoke is pouring out of the roof of the J.G. Clark Company in Marion. Fire broke out about 4:30 this morning in the West Side Company. The fire chief says that the fire's in stacks of cardboard that are stacked to the ceiling in the warehouse. Every time they move some cardboard out, then the fire gets some fresh air and starts all over again. Fire chief expects them to be here all day, maybe into tomorrow, if they can't get the fire put out. We'll have more as information becomes available. I'm Terry Cole, J.G. Clark Company here in Marion.
Remember that? I looked to see if we still would have any of your voices around. We did have that stuff. Why that one survived and not the other stories didn't, I don't know. But that was July. What date was that?
It was a nice day outside. I remember that, except for the smoke.
July 6th of 2001.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what Terry sounded like 14 years ago.
Isn't that awful?
Wanted to have you talk about what really was kind of a coup. You were here when Kurt Koniecki was here.
Yes.
And Kurt did some unbelievable production. In fact, he got to go to London a couple of times
Yeah.
for awards.
Won the top awards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got a chance to go to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
back when Mary Ellen Withrow was sworn in as
the
treasurer.
Treasurer, right.
That didn't quite go like you had hoped.
No, we had trouble getting the signal back here, but right after it was all over, we did get the recording of it back here. So,
as I recall, you had checked in, and that's back when cell phones were just kind of becoming fairly popular, I guess. But there weren't a lot of and there weren't a lot of cell phone towers.
Right.
And you were fine when you checked in by yourself, but when you checked in with everybody else was trying to check, you just couldn't.
There was nothing.
You just couldn't get through.
Couldn't get in. So, and when I saw that was going to happen, then I just hooked the equipment up to the tape recorder, so at least we'd have a recording of it. And then what we did then was got to the car and hooked the recorder up to the cell phone, and as we were leaving downtown D.C. and heading out to the airport, we were broadcasting a signal while I was driving the car. My wife was running the controls, and I was driving.
Okay. So I couldn't remember if you drove or you flew.
Well, we flew out and then got a rental car to drive around in. So.
You were saying during the news that one thing is that you like the studio smells a lot better and the station smells a lot better.
Yeah.
I had forgotten, but 20 years ago, people smoked in the building.
Right.
And we had a lot of smokers.
Yeah.
And
you walked in and you could just smell the stale smoke. So, but of course, since then, that's not allowed. We did the total remodel. You know, where we're sitting now used to be the FM, and where the FM is now used to be the AM studio. And of course, you know, everything was either scrubbed down, covered over, or whatever. So all the cigarette and smoke smell's gone.
Now repainted, and of course they added a lot of insulation and so forth. So yeah, I had forgotten about that. Well, of course Charlie used to smoke a pipe, and he'd smoke it in the studio.
Right.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that.
So yeah, things have changed.
Do you miss radio?
I miss the people. I don't necessarily miss all the long hours and the hard work trying to get everything covered, because there are some nights there were 2 or 3 things going on, and you had to try to get them covered. Well, some of the easier ones would be, let's say there's a couple city council committee meetings, but United Way is also having their victory dinner that night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd rather go to the dinner, but I would go there, get comments from people, and and learn what I needed to learn. Then I would go to the committee meetings and cover them, and I would still have all the stories, like I was, at everything when it happened. So you just had to think things out and cover it the best you could.
Were there any politicians, commissioners, mayors, anybody that you really kind of took a shine to and really enjoyed covering?
Well, Jack Kellogg, for one. And then there was, he was an elected official, but he worked for the city when Mayor Brown was in. That was Ed Simmons. And he was a real good guy to work with. He might tell me something that was going to happen, and he would say, just don't say anything about this. I'll tell you when. So I could come back, write up the story, and then when I got the nod, then I could release the story. And so, when you have somebody like that worked with you, that made it great. And then with the county commissioners, well, Andy Applefeller, for one, and then John Watkins, Kirk Moreland, and Larry Mumper. Oh, I had great rapport with all of them. And I know I'm leaving out quite a few people, but, those were standouts.
You, of course, covered Buckeye Chuck a number of years.
Yep. Well, I sort of helped Charlie for a few years. And then when Charlie left, then I got thrown the gauntlet. And, we did Buckeye Chuck for quite a few years and went through the different phases of, well, Buckeye Chuck's dead, and I don't think it helped matters when, they wanted to come up do a preview story on it, some of the TV stations. And we didn't have Buckeye Chuck here at the time because he doesn't live here. Okay.
Basically, we rent him out for the day.
Yeah.
If you get right down to it.
Right. And we had the stuffed groundhog that we still have here, I believe. And so we said, if you want a picture, we can set him out in the woods and take some grass and cover up the plaque that he sits on.
Because those that don't remember, Buckeye Chuck died that morning.
Yeah.
His teeth...
his teeth had grown too long. It was down through his jaw, and he couldn't open his mouth.
And we used to have a lot of groundhogs out here, and Charlie would get a groundhog. And we'd put it in the cage a couple days ahead of time. And he was down in the cage the night before, and Charlie came in that morning at 4 o'clock or whatever, and he was dead.
Yeah.
And it's a little tough at 7 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning to get a groundhog by 7 o'clock to make his predictions.
Right.
So we had a stuffed groundhog, and Mike Davis came up from Columbus, and Mike said he would never come back and cover Buckeye Chuck again.
Yeah. So, I mean, stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to improvise sometimes.
Yeah. And so we did set him up there for a photo op, but they didn't go too well. But it was always cold. It was never. I don't think there was ever a good Buckeye Chuck day for the weather. But it was always a fun time, and you could always get your Spam and hot chocolate or coffee. And that one year, it was funny because I'd used this line, and Jack Kellogg's wife picked up on it. And somebody asked, "Why do you have Spam?" And they asked Sandra Kellogg, "Why do you have Spam here?" Because she's the one that cooked it up for us. And she used my line. She says, "Well, it is ground hog." I forget which station I was looking at, 4, 6, or 10, one of them. And when the story ended, one of the ladies at the news desk looked at the guy and said, "It's really groundhog?" And I lost it when I saw that.
Oh, I remember it was on a Saturday, and one of the Columbus stations, they'll send reporters up, and this was a young woman. She was about 23 or 24. She had just graduated from UCLA, born and raised in Southern California. She got her first job in Columbus, and she had been on the job about a week. And she had to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And I remember she was in that conference room sitting on the sofa, and she was crying. And she was with her producer, and she, I'm 23 years old. I'm away for the first time from my family and my friends, and I'm sitting here covering a groundhog, and whether he sees his shadow or not, she said, "What have I done?" And she didn't stick around too much longer, and eventually I'm sure she probably went back to camp. But I remember a Saturday morning, and it was like 5 below zero. She probably never had anything like that, and she had to go out and report on a groundhog, and she was